In today's video, I'll be refinishing a mid-century desk, but in the great state of Wisconsin, fall is quickly approaching. So I'll show several steps in preparation for winter. Although this channel is primarily about furniture, I wanted to include this quick segment of another project that I've been working on at the same time. Two of these axes belong to my grandfather. They haven't been used for 30 or 40 years. They were in pretty rough shape. I did a full restoration to the best of my ability on these last year. They're not perfect, but I hope that I've improved them, and I'm just touching these up to use for the winter again. These are on display next to my fireplace in the house, so I want to do the best I can to clean these up again. You may remember this desk from a previous video. I found this at a garage sale for $20 or $25. The color honestly is not bad, but since I did decide to keep this, I use this every day for my video editing and all my camera equipment. I decided to match the stain color to all the rest of the furniture in my living room. And as many of you know, that is General Finish's gel stain in the color Candlelite. The first few steps are usually the same. It's to remove the hardware and then go over the entire piece with a degreaser. I did that about a month ago when I first bought this piece, but I don't want to use it as an excuse why I won't do it again for this video. Unfortunately, the hardware appears to be plated. I like to find solid brass hardware for these mid-century pieces and polish them, but I think I'm going to end up painting this hardware. Most of what's coming off during this cleaning process is the Restore finish that I used about a month ago. So this time around I decided to skip the entire process of using stripper to get the top coat off. This 2.5-inch carbide scraper is to date the best one that I've ever used. And I also have the multi-blade set that I use for a completely different purpose. But for large surfaces, this scraper is amazing. There is one large gouge in the middle of the top of this dresser. I knew that was there from the beginning. And since this is mostly covered in veneer, I'm not going to get too aggressive with trying to fix that. I'm showing this drawer in real time because this process looks tedious, but a drawer like this I can scrape in less than 5 minutes. Some of the curved drawers, probably about 20 to 25 minutes, but this still saves 3 or 4 steps with the entire stripping process. try my best to be as detailed as possible, but I don't want this to be intimidating for viewers because I've never had a project turn out perfect. So all I can say is do your best. I hope that in the final staging of this piece, you're able to identify some of the imperfections of this project. There were only a few small sections on this desk where there was splintering the veneer. This is one of them. Unfortunately, the second one is on the top of the desk. Who did that? Me. I'm not perfect. I made this mistake. I believe while I was scraping may have nicked it. I knew to be careful with this, but sometimes that still happens. Luckily, this syringe set came in the mail just in time. I've worked in healthcare for the last 16 years, and what step do I struggle with? Drawing up glue into the syringe. I clearly chose the wrong attachment here, but rather than dip another one into the glue, I was able to pull just enough glue into the purple chamber to use for the fixing of this veneer. So if it looks like I just woke up, it's because I did. It's 5 a.m. here. I just wanted to get the stain applied and allow it enough time to dry today before I apply the top coat. So I should be finished with this project today. I just wanted to say thank you to all of the supporters so far. I just recently added an Amazon wish list in the description, and the number of packages that have been arriving daily is overwhelming. So the best way I know how to say thank you for all of that support, I've added a piece of tape to most of the items that I've been using. So if you happen to catch that in the videos, it's just my way of saying thank you for all that support. I'm using 240 grit sandpaper with the orbital sander. Because the scraping process went so well, there's very minimal cleanup and there should be very minimal sanding required as well. I typically use 220, 240 is what I have mostly in bulk, so that's going to be just fine for this. And I'll sand everything. It only took about 2 hours to scrape this entire piece. It looks like a lot of work, but I don't have as much cleanup to do since I didn't use any of the strippers, so I'm very excited about that. I'm gonna sand all of this and then we'll jump right into staining. I've used these Varathane repair markers for touch-ups a lot, and for this touch-up it's going to appear too dark, but I'm going to be applying Candlelite gel stain, so this will blend well. Once again, I'll be using General Finishes gel stain in Candlelite, giving it a quick stir, and then I'll apply this with a foam brush, wiping off immediately with a shop towel. Just working in small sections so it doesn't dry, get tacky. For the legs, oftentimes I find that the solid legs are difficult to match the stain colors. Ideally, I'd like to use a toner lacquer, but I have yet to find any at any of our local hardware stores. So I've been looking online. If you have suggestions, please let me know. I find it's best to apply the gel stain in every direction and then wipe off all the excess in the direction of the wood grain. This will help conceal any of the streaks that show up in the final coat. I figured I would be painting the hardware since it is plated, but I wanted to at least make one attempt with Brasso polisher to see how the original hardware came out. To me, because this is plated, the polished hardware looks cheap, so I decided to spray paint this with Krylon spray paint in brass. I'll do 2 coats of this, and the next step I didn't show, I just covered with a clear spray-on lacquer. This is my first time using an application sponge like this to apply the wipe-on poly, and it worked out great. But as you can see, the sponge soaked up quite a bit of this poly, and I would have liked to have applied a much lighter first coat. But once it's applied, it's best not to go back and try and fix it. You don't want to work this into the stain. And don't ask me how I know about those mistakes. After the top coat has had adequate time to dry, I'll come back with my favorite step before I place the hardware back on, and that's Howard Feed and Wax Wood Polish and Conditioner. I'll work this in with a non-abrasive pad, come back after about 20 minutes and wipe all the excess off in the direction of the wood grain. This desk will eventually get the glass top back on it once this has completely cured. And stick around after the reveal for a guest appearance.